Alright guys, we're back with episode 2 of The Last of Us. That's a very exciting episode, dude.
Yeah.
It was very sweaty.
It was an intense episode, yes.
Yeah, a very intense episode. But before we get started, I just want to give a shout out for this big ass war machine that we have over here. It was a pleasure building. For those of you guys who are watching on YouTube.
Yeah, this is our special guest. He wanted to stand guard, in case any infected came through.
Yeah, so he's watching out for us as we make this podcast. But if you're listening to on the podcast on Spotify or something, definitely check it out on YouTube as well. Our channel name is actually going to be called Bros Before Shows now, with the B in the letter 4. So that's really cool. So we finally got our channel name, so very, very, very exciting. All right, you ready to jump into The Last of Us episode 2 review?
Let's go.
All right, so what was happening at the very beginning? Oh yeah, it's with the scientist doctor, right?
Yes, so she's basically an expert on the fungus, which is called let me see, I have the name here. Cordyceps. They're called cordyceps. So they're basically a subspecies of fungus that live off of infecting the host, and basically they spread because they make the host go to some place to attract other of their own species, and that's kind of how they spread. Of course, that's what they do with bugs. But then basically when they tell her it's for humans, she's like, there's no way. And she's like, do you want to see the body? And she goes, and then if you saw the show, of course, you see the naked lady, and like she pulls the little things out of the mouth, and you see them moving, and she freaks out. And then, of course, the soldiers are like, how do we stop this? Is there a vaccine? Is there a medicine? And she basically says, nope, there's nothing you can do. Bomb the F of this city, and, let's see who survives.
Yeah, that was 17 years prior than what's going on right now.
Right, yeah.
So we didn't really see anything else after that. They didn't really show any of the bombing and stuff like that.
Right. But
when they were walking around the city, you could see the bombshells when they were pointing out, like, oh, these are for the mortar strikes, right?
Yeah.
So very neat. I would actually like to see the bombing on screen, see how it looked like and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then their reaction when they saw, like, oh, they're still spreading.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you could see it in the soldier's face when she said bomb the city, like, there's nothing you can do. Like, that's your last course. Yeah. And, like, his look is, like, of shock, and she's just like, I want to go home. Like, she knows that if this spreads, there's no way we can stop it.
Yeah.
So it kind of just shows you in like a professional standpoint, like they know that at a certain point there's nothing we can do but destroy everything around it so that it stops the spread.
Man, how would you react in that type of scenario? If it would actually happen, like, you're like, oh, there's no vaccine cure or anything for this thing, we have to blow everybody up.
Man, I mean, like, as, obviously as a... if you're thinking of a person as you want to save humanity, then you have to sacrifice people to stop the spread. But then, of course, as a human, those are people with families. So what if, let's say, for example, what if your family lived in the middle of the city? Would you still, would you sacrifice them to save the rest of humanity? That's kind of one of the... And I feel that's kind of one of the themes that they approach in the show is like, what are you willing to sacrifice so that hope can continue, and we see that, of course, at the end of the episode, so we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, very true.
And then after that, it jumps back to them basically, Ellie sleeping in that circle.
Yeah, and she wakes up, like, she's kind of sleeping in the, like, the or the grass or whatever, so that was very interesting.
That was funny. She wakes up and they're just looking at her like she's about to attack, and they're ready.
Yeah.
Any little movement, she was like, they were on edge. They were definitely on edge. And you kind of see it from their point of view. Like, they know that, there's no cure for this. There's no way you can beat it. And this girl, they saw her get bit or whatever.
They didn't see her
get bit. Well, they saw her injury, yeah.
They saw the injury, yeah.
So they're like, oh, she's going to turn. And then she says, oh, I'm immune. And,
and,
probably there's been people say, oh, I'm immune. I'm okay. Nothing's going to happen to me. And they, of course, turn.
Yeah, it's always like that. That's why when the actor, he was like, I forgot the main guy's name. What's his name? Joel?
Joel, yeah.
Joel. He was like, this is a lie. And they've been doing this forever. Yeah. And it's always like, it always ends up not being a cure or whatever it is. So I wonder how many times this has happened where they're always saying there's a cure and stuff like that, where he's like, I don't believe you at all anymore.
Yeah. Because that's kind of how I feel like for Joel, he's kind of given up on
everything.
After, I'm guessing, his daughter died, he was just living life like day to day. Like, there was nothing for him to really live for. So of course he's a very helpless, pessimistic guy. Like, no, there's nothing we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of see that at the end where he's like, we need to go back. Like, there's no point in this mission anymore. We need to go back.
Yeah.
So you kind of see that flip side in Tess, who's very hopeful.
Yeah.
And she, I think she starts to understand that Ellie's special.
Yeah.
After they go and like when they're moving through the hotel, she's like, you stay behind us. So she's like determined to protect her in a way.
Yeah.
So then they, that little scene where she starts making the noise, and they're like, "Stop it!"
Oh yeah, that was. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and then like you could actually see how much hope they had put into her because, like when she's eating that sandwich, they're like, "Is that chicken?" Like,
yeah,
it's kind of like, is that actual meat? Because they probably don't see that a lot anymore.
Yeah, I thought when she got up. When Tess got up, I thought she was just gonna take the sandwich and eat it from her.
Yes,
I thought that was gonna happen, but she's like, "Oh, let me just ask you some questions."
Yeah,
I thought she was just gonna snatch it.
Give me that sandwich.
Yeah, make your own.
But yeah, so then they leave. They have to go. I guess that's when you see they're walking through the streets and they see the bombs or where it fell, and the city it looks destroyed, of course, because.
So real quick, does it look like the games at all when you were walking? You saw the cinematic, all that stuff, like the buildings and all that. Did you see that in the games as well? Like,
yeah,
right. The same exact scene, or just a little bit different?
You actually do a part of the game where you're actually walking through the streets, so that's where they kind of talk about like what happened and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they show that a little bit in the movie or in the show.
Yeah.
But they're more focused on like their story. So that's definitely longer in the game because it's kind of where you have to learn how to sneak around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you get to see like there's a part where you're walking and there's like a giraffe passes by because the zoos obviously got overrun and the animals kind of just started to live there.
Yeah.
So you get to see like different animals walking around. So you get to see a little bit more of that in the game, but of course the game you actually have to play it, so it's different than the show where they have to kind of continue the story.
Yeah. You can't give me every single piece of scenery.
Yeah. But it does look like the city just like that. Like you see the buildings.
Yeah.
There's like plants overgrown and all that stuff. Yeah. And then they go to that hotel that they have to go through, and you see like the part with the little ducks. I'm like, I wonder if these ducks are gonna die. And that's the first thing I'm like, are these ducks gonna die?
I actually thought like something was gonna pop up out of the water. I was waiting for the very first jump scare, but surprisingly there was no jump scare in this episode.
Yeah,
because you already know that they're coming when they start making that noise.
Yeah, and then they find that guy who's been cut up and they're dead, and Ellie makes a comment. She's like, oh, there's rumors that there's guys that explode and they spread the spores, and they kind of like look at each other. Like, I don't know if you saw Jill and Tess look at each other and they say, no, like that's not true. But when they get to that guy, they're both scared.
Yeah, because
they know that there is another type of clicker. Yeah, and I think they both know what it is, but they don't want to tell Ellie.
Yeah, because they don't want to figure it out.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, be quiet,
Yeah.
But before that, there was a part where Tess, she had to climb the rocks and open the door for.
Oh yeah,
let's backtrack there real quick. So when she was climbing the rocks and they were asking like, so what do you do? How's your day? Where are you from? Stuff like that. I thought that was pretty funny, like making a small conversation. I feel like you're gonna have more of that now that Tess is gone and Joel only has her name Ellie to rely on now, or just as a companion.
Yeah.
But also. You know how she basically went up over the rocks, right?
Yeah.
And then went to go open the door. I was like, couldn't they just kick that door down in the first place when Tess was like walking all the, like going over the roof and just.
Yeah, it looked like there wasn't anything really blocking for it. I'm sure they did it so that they could talk, so her and Ellie could talk.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure if you're in that sort of situation, just kick it,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's a wooden door.
Yeah, they didn't even try to. So I thought that was a little silly, but I see why they did that. That way they could have that one-on-one type of conversation with each other.
Yeah, I know it's a it's a character-driven show. Some of the stuff it was like I would have just kicked that door down, just bash it in, like But it's where the show is focused on the getting their story together.
Yeah, and when they're walking around, like when they walked towards the balcony, they looked down and they saw all those zombies looking like basically like laying on top of each other, and they move in sync and stuff like that. I was like, oh man, this kind of reminds me of like World War Z.
Yes, yes, it does remind me of that, like that too. And I actually like that they use that Because there is actually I believe there's a tree somewhere. I don't know if it's in the Amazon or it's a forest, but the fungus is like over a mile wide. Like it spreads through the roots of the trees, and it's actually all connected.
Uh-huh.
So that's actually very true in the sense that there's an organism that's, let's say a mile big, like some of the biggest organisms are fungus, and they can communicate through chemicals through long distances. So it's cool that they're using that for the game as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that especially like when the sun was passing by and like the things would move out of the way, like oof. And they play that really well as you see later on whenever he shoots that infected and like it goes through the vines to that big group and they come in at them.
Mm-hmm.
So then they're like, okay, I guess that was the long way, right? Because they say you can go the long way or the hard way. And so that was the long way, and of course they was blocked by the infected. Yeah. So they had to do the hard way. That's where they go. It's back to the hotel or to
the museum.
Room. Yeah, the museum.
Mm-hmm.
And they see that guy that said, yeah, that's where it was.
Yeah. So I never played the games at all, so I don't know anything what to expect. So as they were like going up the stairs at the museum, like how the roof was collapsing.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, is that a big giant mob boss or something? Like is there a big giant like dragon looking zombie or something? Like I didn't know because like why else would the roof chart just fall down because they're going up the stairs?
Yeah, it's in the game there is different types of infected, and like there is some that explode and like spread the spore. Yeah. And there's some that are like basically like a berserker type that instead of like the regular zombies just try to bite you. Yeah. The berserkers just try to kill you like with slashes, which is kind of what you see with that guy. Because he had like a bunch of cuts all over his body. Yeah. And it's kind of like I'm thinking they're setting that up as kind of like a
like maybe
finale boss that this is what they were talking about. You could be scared. Yeah. Which is kind of like that in the game. It's that mini boss that you fight one time, he's like really hard, and then later on you see him all the time. It's kind of like okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but when the ceiling was collapsing, I was like, oh man, there's a big giant zombie upstairs.
I was expecting something to burst through the door real quick.
Yeah.
But then from there, they encountered two of the clickers. And, the makeup on that was amazing.
Yeah, I felt like, before we talk about the clicker, like when they were just walking around there, I was expecting them to actually have a jump scare and just pop up out of nowhere. But I liked how it was like a slow progression. Like you could hear them first, like the clicking, and then you could just see them like through a window or whatever.
Yes, that was really good. I think the jump scare, like it gives you the shock, but then you're kind of settled in. But that slow burn of slowly bringing it up, you're just like, oh.
Yeah, and it kind of reminded me of like trying to be like the Quiet Place, If you
the Quiet Place.
Be quiet, don't make a noise.
Yeah.
I guess Ellie got really scared when it just freaked out, right? Started running towards her.
She made that noise, and it started attacking her. But yeah, you see the clickers attack, and I mean, you can just see one of them is pretty hard to take down from one person, unless you spend a lot of bullets to kill it. Yeah. And then you have to hit it in the head, of course. Mm-hmm. And then there was two of them, so they were running back and forth and like being quiet and stuff like that. So it kind of gives you a sense of how dangerous the infected are. Yeah. Because it's not like you could just hold them back or anything. Like these guys just come at you to try to spread the infection. And it gives you a sense of the danger that they're faced with, especially like in a big group. Like, there's nothing you can do but run. Yeah. And even if you did run, they're running too. It's not like they're slow. They're actually coming at you.
Yeah. And would you say Joel and Tess are pretty like much veterans when it comes to killing clickers and stuff like that?
I think they are, but of course that right there, their whole situation was protecting Ellie. Yeah. And trying to draw. I think if it was one, they would have easily handled it. But since there was two, then it became harder because then you have two of these things coming at you from both sides. Yeah. And when it's just like, let's say, two people back to back with it, you can train, you can just shoot or whatever. Yeah. But then Ellie was thrown into the mix, and it now becomes more of a protection mission, and that's harder because. This person is, of course, it's a child, so they can't really defend themselves. They don't have a weapon. Yeah. So it's much more of a hassle, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like, since there were veterans, like, this is just me being nitpicky that they wouldn't already know just aim for the head. Yeah. Because Joel is just shooting all body. But that's probably just because it's a story-driven TV show. They want to add the dramatic effect. But since they know more about, like, each type of, like monster there is and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I was like, oh, he's just like, keep the gun pointing at the head the entire time and just shoot.
Yeah.
But I see how, like, they didn't add that in there. They didn't make it super realistic because they want to make it more dramatic.
I agree with you because she even says, "Have you killed one?" And he's like, "I've killed many of them."
Yeah,
So
so
then
he
you
would.
know how to kill them.
Yeah, and aim straight for the head, don't shoot for the body. So like it would have been done already.
Yeah,
But
yeah, you're right. That was definitely more of to build to build up the danger of the clickers to show how
Yeah.
dangerous they are, and
Yeah.
then just to like give that intense scene. Because you're right. If it was somebody who, like you said, and he had a pretty good machine
He
gun.
had a assault rifle.
Yeah, so it would be just straight up like
yeah.
it would hit just the whole part in the head. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And they already knew like exactly what to do when it comes to like, oh, be quiet because they can't see you, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You even shined a flashlight into space and didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, so I was reading up on it that they originally wanted to do the clickers CGI, like the face stuff,
Oh, really?
but the director was like, no, we need to make it as real as possible. Let's use prosthetics. So they actually
Oh.
were on full makeup. For
Okay, well that's cool. I wonder how long it took to put
That.
it
Yeah,
on.
yeah, and I mean it was worth it. I think they look great. Really creepy, but then you have like the bright colors, so it's kind of like like a flower. You know how some
Yeah.
flowers are dangerous, but they're very, very bright and colorful. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like that. You know what I've thought about? I'm sorry. I wonder if they ever tried to eat them. It's a mushroom.
Oh
cut
my
up the
God.
cut up the parts of the mushroom.
Oh my
and
god.
eat it.
No, I think they're.
Hey,
not.
listen, bro. You have to try everything once. Ah,
And
no.
they end up dead. Turned.
Infected, yeah. So and then I guess I don't know if like sunlight kills these things, but remember when they're going back when they're going to the museum and they see like the dead.
Yeah,
the
and
dead,
then when the sun showed on them, they started rolling.
yeah. So I wonder if the sun actually kills like the actual
Mm-hmm.
exposed fungus, because the one that was on the wall, he even said it's like it's bone dry.
Yeah.
So then that means that it's dead.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's a way to kill it with. I mean, obviously, fire kills mostly anything, but like
Yeah.
maybe direct sunlight. Maybe that's why whenever the sunlight shone on the things, they would move out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's an
that's-
interesting thing. Maybe down the road, but I don't think it does directly because remember they were running straight to Joel when he shot
Through the sun. Yeah.
They were running straight through the sun when he shot that clicker on the floor.
Yeah.
So maybe not. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. So then they finish killing off both clickers,
Mhm.
and then they go across the roof, and they get.
Oh yeah, before what's it called? Yeah, so Ellie went on, ran straight across the plank, no big deal, right? And then I think Joel was trying to help Tess wrap her ankle, and she's like, "No, just go over there and help with Ellie." At that moment, do you feel like did you know that she was bitten?
I kind of assumed something happened to her,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, because she seemed like very. After that, she seemed very like standoffish towards
Yeah.
Joel mostly.
Yeah, she was very aggravated the entire time. So that's when.
Yeah.
So I was watching with Vicky, and she was like, "She got bit. She got bit," because like her entire personality changed.
It shifted.
Right
yeah.
right off the bat, and I was like, okay, because it's like, no, she wouldn't have gotten bitten, no, because she would have said something right off the bat.
I thought so too. Yeah, like
Yeah.
if you're with this guy who's been your partner for a while,
Uh-huh.
you would have let him know as
Yeah.
soon as possible. You know.
Yeah. So, but then I think when she started getting just extremely angry out of nowhere, like all the time, especially when they walked into the building, come on, let's go. I was like, oh yeah, she got bitten. She only had so much time left. That's
She
why she was
became
in.
aggressive.
That's why she was in a hurry.
Yeah, and then they go up to the I guess where they're supposed to meet up with the Fireflies, and it looks like there's been a shootout or something.
Yeah.
That truck, I'm surprised they didn't try to take that truck, but if you saw it was shot in the gas tank, so I'm guessing
Yeah.
they had no gas.
Yeah.
You know what I also thought? They go into the building, they see everybody who's dead, but there's things of weapons all over. He could have easily gotten a lot more ammo.
Yeah.
Put some of those grenades in your pocket.
Yeah.
Let's go. Listen.
Yeah. Basically restock everything.
Yes.
Or just throw a bunch of grenades at the infected that were coming by.
Yeah, but I feel like they didn't even try.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Maybe, of course, like you said, they're just driving the story. But he has who played the video game, like, you gotta
Yeah.
restock, bro. You gotta restock
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
Put it in your
exactly.
pocket.
And then there was one thing, like, do you think there was other humans that attacked the fireflies? Or do you think it was the spores were then infected?
I'm sure that they did get attacked by the infected, because that's why they said probably one of them got infected.
Oh, okay.
And then they started shooting each other. And
okay.
Kind of like the whole, like, you know, when one of you gets sick, it's like a suspicious, and you get paranoid.
Yeah.
And they started shooting each other, and that's how they died.
In my first thought, I was like, oh, they got raided, but all the stuff is still there.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, okay, they probably one of them got bitten, then and they all got wrecked.
Yeah. And then I guess that guy who attacked him was probably the one that actually did get bit. And, you know, he got up. So I wonder, like, does it wait? Like, is a fungus smart enough to wait? Because I'm surprised they didn't attack them as soon as they got there. But it would kind of waited until after they had been there for a little bit, and then it tried to bite them.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's interesting. But then, of course, he shoots them, and then you see, like, the fungus, like, move.
Yeah.
And then I guess it wakes up the other ones over there, and they all run out over there.
Yeah, exactly. So they, you know, it could have some intelligence. It seems like it.
Yeah.
They know where to go. So there's that. Probably just a small amount though.
Yeah.
And then when what's it called, when Tess reveals that she, you know, her bite, and then it got worse like right off the bat, and then what's her face, Ellie was totally fine.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the spark that Joel needed to actually believe that Ellie is actually like could be a cure now?
I think so. I think you know, for him it was just a job, but he didn't. Even when she told him, "Oh, you know, I'm not infected," to him, he was his focus is trying to get that battery to go see his brother.
Yeah.
So seeing, I guess, this whole thing with Ellie now, or I think Tess pushing him and telling him, "You need to do this. We need to do this to set, you know, for all the past things we've done wrong.
Yeah. This
is how you help." And she even says, "Save who you can save," which I think is you know, a pretty strong comment, because, you know, to me, he seems like the type of person that if, let's say, your leg was broken, he'd be like, all right, bye, I'm going to leave. I'm not even going to try to save you.
Yeah.
So now he gets the chance to, like, not only
save
one person.
Dad again.
Yes. So you not only save one person, you actually you have a chance to
save humanity.
Save humanity, you know, save who you can save. So that's a pretty strong, you know, I guess, last word from her. And then she, of course, tells them that they need to go.
Yeah.
And, you know, Joel didn't. I mean, if they left it up to Joel, he wouldn't have done it. He'd be like, "Bye, Ellie, I'm done. Like, this is it. I'm going back." But you know, with Tess now getting bitten, and if he goes back now, there really there was no point for him.
There's no way, because he beat up that cop, so he can't go back,
and he would have been executed. Because remember, in the beginning, anybody who left the quarantine zone without authorization or came in was getting executed.
Yep.
So, you know, it's a death sentence for him anyway. So,
I don't even know why he wanted to go back, because he would have been executed anyway. You know?
Yeah. It's kind of like just going to your comfort zone of, oh, we got to go back home. But she even says, that's not my home. You know, that really wasn't her home. And,
exactly.
And I think Joel is going to understand that too, because, you know, his one family that he has is his brother. So he has to go try to find him. And now Ellie's, you know, his responsibility, but also, like, she's the hope for humanity, so he has that on his shoulders now. Yeah. So we're gonna see how he acts, like how he's gonna take the death of Tess, and now, you know, being in charge of Ellie. We'll see. Yeah. So now, since this was like maybe a 55-minute episode, because there was like 6 minutes of extra just credits and stuff like that. Yeah. Did it feel like a very short episode to you when you watched it? It actually did. Yes. Like, man, what is this? Is this it? Is that it? I was expecting more. So I went to work out, and I was watching it while I was working out. Like, I was on a treadmill just watching it on the tablet. Yeah. And so I paused it at the part where they find the dead guy. And then, like, I'm like, oh man, there's a lot left. And I went home and I put it on the television, and I fast forwarded like 35 minutes, and I'm like, there's only like 15 minutes left. Yeah. So I mean, but it's good. That means that it keeps you interested, that you don't feel the time go by. And I think to me that shows that it's a pretty good show, in the sense that it keeps your attention for that time. Yeah. And it makes you want more at the end of it. You're just like, I need to see what's going on afterwards. Yeah, exactly. Because other episodes, I would just fall asleep in the middle of it, or have to take a break or something. Yeah. Or for some TV shows, like, you know, we're all adults. Like, I'll be using my phone and watching the show. Yeah, exactly. But this one, I actually, like, put my phone up to focus on what's going on, especially those intense parts. Yes. You're like, I don't want to miss anything. Yeah, I don't want to miss anything. We basically turn off all the lights, set up the fireplace and everything, make sure we, you know, immerse ourselves in the film, because it was that good. Yeah. We don't really get to do that too much. But it was good. The anxiety-inducing thriller of it is there, which I like. And you have that drama, of course, with the situation that's going on, but it's still like that mix of action and drama is there, which I really like that the game had.
Yeah.
This is pulling off really well, and I like it. How did you feel about the whole aspect of the fungus guy kissing Tess, like putting that?
Yeah, so I'm just like, why is this happening? Because I was like, don't they just go up and try to bite you or eat you?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was like, is this like the only way I would like it would make sense if that person was her previous lover or something?
Right. Yeah.
Because like he just like completely just looks at her and then like they basically make out or whatever, kiss.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is weird.
And I thought to myself, like, why would you let yourself do that? But then, like, I'm thinking, looking back on it, like the virus makes you, the fungus makes you act, or takes control of you and makes you do stuff. So the further you get along, the more it takes over you. Yeah. So I guess she was getting to that point where it was basically controlling her.
Yeah.
Because at the end she couldn't even pull the flick the finger, and she was just like frozen.
Yeah.
I'm sure she didn't want to kiss it. It was just the fungus taking over at that point.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting decision that they decided to do that, because I thought she would have been like shooting or something like that. I don't know, like trying to fight them more.
Yeah.
But it kind of shows you how fast the fungus acts, and what it makes you act out of character.
Yeah.
She became more aggressive. Not only that, but she was like, she let this thing like put his tongue in her. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. So yeah, that's a good what's it called? Analysis.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't think about it. I was like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah. Now in the game, I was reading the game, like instead of them being the infected, it's actually soldiers coming to kill them, and that she blows that up instead of being.
Yeah, I think the change is great though, because it's more dramatic with soldier. I mean, with infected, right, and the soldiers.
Yeah,
you feel like, oh, you won't really feel as scared. Maybe we just soldiers trying to come kill you.
Yeah,
as if it was infected.
Yeah, I think for sure the infected are more of a threat, and it was more dramatic being being infected than soldiers.
So going back to the clicker scene, how sweaty were you? How sweaty was you? Because oh my gosh, like my girl's hand, she was extra sweaty. I was like, hold my hand, I'm scared.
Yeah, it's just the part where he's reloading the bullets and he's like leaned up against, like he's turning around and he sees it and he's like slowly putting the bullets in, and then it's like right there.
Yeah, you don't even know. I was like, oh my gosh, dude. Like, because they keep on taking the clicker off screen, so you don't know where it is. I'm
exactly.
Like, oh.
And it's cool because it kind of gives you, like, in a sense, almost how a person would see it. So like, if you're looking at, you want to see the clicker, but you also want to reload.
Yeah.
So you have to take your eyes off of it.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and it's right there. So it's kind of like that point of view of a person who's in there.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
And then when it jumps over that thing, when he steps on the glass by accident, it jumps over.
Oh yeah, that was intense.
Yeah.
That was intense. So, what was your favorite part of the episode? I think mine was just when they were doing the clicker scene. That entire like intensity.
Yeah, I think to me, favorite part of it was, I'm sorry, I have to go with Ellie doing that. Like, she was just so funny to me. Like, I think to me, it's just goes to show how. She's not taking it very seriously, but it's still like I think the whole clicker scene after that is just like,
now it's serious.
Yeah, now she understands that it's not really like a game. Like, it's not like, oh, you're just gonna walk around the city and there's not gonna there's danger all around you. You have to be aware of that, and I think she has to learn that quickly or not.
I feel like because she's been sheltered and protected the entire time with the fireflies and stuff like that she doesn't know the real danger. But now, since it's just Joel and her, and she saw Tess got deaded, completely gone. Now she's like, oh, I feel like the emotional, the characters for these, the emotions for these characters are going to be changing quite a bit for these upcoming episodes. Yeah,
and then it also has to. I mean, think about it in her perspective. She's immune to the infection.
Yeah.
So she has to be on the lookout for other people, for everybody, really, because even, let's say, for example, Joel, if he were to get infected and he starts acting differently, she has to kill him. Like, there's no other choice.
And I feel like that's another reason why she didn't take it as seriously, because she's immune. So even if she got attacked or bitten, stuff like that, she's like, oh, it's okay. They won't kill me.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, You know, he even says it. Yeah, you may be immune, but they'll still tear you apart.
Yeah.
So it's that danger that you don't get infected, but they can still like mortally wound you.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna die.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it set it up really good for the next episode, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I just didn't think they would kill Tess off so quickly. I was hoping they would draw it out a little bit longer. Yeah. But I'm sure there's gonna be like flashbacks between her and him. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you can kind of see that they did have a relationship because she says something even when she's like, "Do this for me," like, you know, do it for what is it? Like she basically says, you know, I tried to, you know, show you that I love you, and you didn't return that. You know, do it for me for that, like.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was kind of like gives you little hints of their relationship, but it doesn't right out tell you that they were, you know,
in a relationship.
Exactly. Yes. So I kind of like that because, you know, they won't give you all of that information. They don't want to treat you like, oh, they have to explain everything to you.
Yeah.
You kind of draw your own conclusions, and I like that. It makes me feel like the show isn't babying me like,
exactly.
Yeah. It's just giving you the clues. You have to put it together for yourself. Like,
very true.
Understand that.
So overall, I would give this episode another 10 out of 10. I felt like it was pretty solid from the beginning to the end. There wasn't any parts that really dragged. There was just small little nitpicks, like, you know, kicking that door down instead of like going all around the building.
Yeah.
And then, you know, since you killed so many clickers and stuff like that before, you would know to aim for the head.
Yeah.
And completely kill them before anything ever happened.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically, you know, they did that. They dumbed it down. They dumbed the characters down a little bit.
I agree. Like, especially like when the clicker was around, I thought he was taking out the bullets to throw them to distract it, and then he could get away.
Yeah.
But he didn't. And I would think they would already know how to do that. Like, just distract it, make it go that way so you can go this way.
Yeah.
But, you're right. They dumbed it down a little bit just for, you know, to give us that danger of what the clickers can do. And to give us that anxiety-inducing episode. But overall, it was great. I enjoyed it. I really like how he had to explain to her silently what the clickers are doing their stuff.
Yeah, and, like, can't see. Go that way.
Yeah. So it kind of puts you in that situation too, because like we don't know, like, we're kind of like Ellie. We don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
So we're living through that experience of her having to live that with Joel, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah, very true. So what do you give this episode out of 10 so far?
Yeah, just those little parts, the little nitpick parts. Like, okay, he would know how to shoot them. Like you said. Burst down the door. I mean, they should all carry like little axes to do that. They should know that.
Yeah.
But again, it's just nitpicky stuff. It definitely just added to the show for us and for the story. So I would give it a 10 out of 10. I enjoyed this one as well.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say before we hop off?
No. Listen. I'm designing the logo for this, so that's gonna be pretty cool. And hopefully I'll have that up. And if you're watching it on YouTube, thank you guys for joining us.
Yep.
And
Well, okay. Well, thank you again. Before we go, just know that this podcast was brought to you by OrganiFreshBooks.com. Don't forget to pick up some really cool collected editions if you're into comics and stuff like that.
At really good prices.
Yeah, really good prices. And stay tuned for the next podcast. We're probably gonna do this every single Monday. Because it airs on Sunday, so we'll have it on Monday, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this podcast and the TV show at the same time. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye!